Everyone, welcome back to the Digital Deep Dive Show with me, Reed Daly. This is the show that's all about showcasing incredible technology and exceptional people building it and using it and the impact it has on society at large. Before jumping into the show, I want to remind you that all ideas, thoughts are my own. And more importantly, you can find the Digital Deep Dive Show on, of course, LinkedIn. We're on PogPage and Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, Anchor, Spotify, and YouTube. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and have all episodes downloaded automatically to your device. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram. Digital 3D Show is the handle on both Twitter and Instagram. And with that said, let's jump into the show. So I got some feedback from a bunch of friends, and a lot of people said, we love the show, but maybe like 30 minutes or 45 minutes, which has been some of the length of the show, was a little bit long. So what I'm going to try to do is make sure that, one, we're producing shows weekly, and two, kind of just tightening them up in terms of the number of topics. So less maybe story by story and more kind of themes. But, this is a work in progress. This is show number 11. So there is obviously room for improvement, room for tweaking. Always interested in what people have to say. So with that said, let's actually jump into the topic since I already said that once. So first off, we're going to talk about social media, and it's been in the news so much, largely because you have both new entrants from different sort of formats and approaches, as well as sort of clones. What I want to do is just highlight the fact that, TikTok is being explored for banning in certain states, the US worldwide, and maybe segmenting the US data from data being stored in China. And that's really all I'm going to say about TikTok today. I really more want to focus on sort of Twitter. And I have just become, I think, more and more interested in what Twitter's doing, mostly because I feel like you've got this fantastic engineer in Elon Musk who owns Twitter, and they are releasing new feature sets at a faster clip than they had done with previous ownerships and management teams. But what's more interesting is how many clones have come out, namely the fact that you have Blue Sky, which is backed by Jack Dorsey, and the fact that there was no board of governance to block Jack from creating a competitor to Twitter. I mean, it was almost like instantaneous. So whoever did the diligence on his non-compete really missed the ball there. But Jack Dorsey's Blue Sky backed solution has been rolling out, and enrollments from the data we can gather from data.io, I believe is the company, says there have been 375,000 people signed up, which is roughly 1/5 of CNN's top show evening viewership and roughly 1/8 of Fox. And the reason I use those two metrics to just highlight how many people have downloaded it is the fact that, if you are going to a beta website or trying to get to new tech, you're usually someone who's technical focused and or is looking for an alternative, and likely my hypothesis is more prone to publish than just consume. And so I'm guessing that 375,000 people, at least half, if not more of those, are actively producing content on that platform. So it's pretty incredible, the fact that it's still pretty much in beta and they've already gotten that much traction. In terms of Mastodon, this has been out for a while, but Mammoth is a new free Mastodon app that makes it much easier to get started with the open source platform. I think that was one of the key hindrance to people jumping on that platform. Of Blue Sky and Mastodon, I have not tried either one of those, but the third one I do want to talk about is Post. And so Post was founded by the same guy that created Waze, and he viewed Waze as a social network. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. But Post is very similar in terms of Twitter, except there's just not as much noise. It just feels like a cleaner, stripped down version of Twitter. And it really feels like they're appealing to journalists and folks that want a more news-oriented approach. Now, all three are derivatives of Twitter. Like if you go look at all of them, they kind of look and feel like Twitter. So it'll be interesting to see who can win, right? Of these new sort of entrances, or can, Twitter kind of regain its foothold in the marketplace. Now, I do want to go and talk about Twitter a little more. So a couple things that they are doing that I'm sort of impressed with is the fact that next month they are rolling out the ability to allow media publishers to charge users on a per article basis with one click. This enables users who would not sign up for a monthly subscription to pay a higher per article price for when they want to read an occasional article. So this makes total sense, right? One of the hang-ups with all these social media solutions is, someone will share an article that is behind a paywall, and then you go click it and you desperately want to read it. And you're like, gosh, I don't want to sign up for insert paywall, subscription service. But the ability to, pay per article is very appealing. And the fact that Elon Musk was one of the founders of, I think, PayPal, or its predecessor that became PayPal, he clearly has an understanding of how payments work. And so in that piece, I do trust his team to be able to deliver that sort of functionality. And finally, you're going to see more publishers get a bigger piece of the action, which is great for publishers, and then obviously downstream to the writers. The other thing that I know it's been on Twitter's website for a while, but I just have been noticing more of a highlight of that is that they're, rolling out more publishing tools. Obviously, they have Spaces, they have TweetDecks, but they're really just highlighting some of the use cases and how to, better take advantage of some of those tools. So, my takeaway here is that social media companies keep expanding their scope, cloning each other and fighting over eyes and creators, but will any of it be enough to fight off TikTok? Will TikTok even be able to operate in the US in 18 months? What do you think? Hit me up in the comments with your thoughts on the social media. Obviously, I'm interested into it from a technical standpoint. I'm also into it from a personal brand. I mean, clearly I am, creating content in terms of audio podcast, some video, and, infographics. So I very much rely on social media to get the message out for what I'm doing and what, other organizations are doing that I'm interacting with. And I find it a valuable tool. I certainly think that LinkedIn has taken over as the go-to source for professional content, hence why this podcast goes on LinkedIn. But I certainly repost it and starting to explore more and more of Twitter's functionality. And I think there's a place for both. And I'll be very keen to see if over time Twitter can win back some of the, I will call it less like celebrities and politicians, and more of the professional landscape to, use the platform to help grow and amplify their message and voice. All right, so we're going to go from talking about social media to talking about generative AI and consulting. So artificial intelligence is here. If you open up a newspaper, click on a social media app, you're going to just hear more and more about AI, generative AI, and large language models. The way we live and work is forever changed. OpenAI presents great risks and great rewards. And the team over at Human Plus AI Pilot program helps organizations overcome uncertainty and navigate emerging landscapes to thrive, growth, and efficiency. So there is the team over at Human AI, and that is led by the founder, Sean Wood, and he's recently had Sarah Woodward join his team, and they are the first consulting firm that I'm aware of that is offering a way for businesses to think about how they use AI as a co-pilot for both your life and your day jobs. And more consulting firms and businesses should be considering this. I know I use AI all day, every day for every sort of task. I'm using it to help ghostwrite emails. I'm using it to actually write some summaries for this particular podcast. I use it to review some of my content. I've actually started to use it to build my workout plan. I'm into golf, and I wanted to build a workout plan more tailored to what I need to be a golfer versus what I used to do, which was trying to get thin or fit or bigger, depending on my goals in the past. But it's really cool to see consulting firms pop up, and I'm sure we're going to see many more of this. And if you stay tuned to the third story, you'll see why I'm keen on seeing what Sean and his team are up to. So moving to the third topic is the monthly roundtable, which is hosted by Lewis Manning. And so this is a group that I am one of the founding members of. And what we're doing is we have been informally doing a monthly sort of roundtable speaking series. And we're kind of formalizing that and calling it the Executive Briefing Series. And this month we've got three folks. So Gene Hawley, who was the former CIO of Computer World, Travis Metz, who is a partner in a private equity firm and recently completed his master's degree in data science for UC Berkeley, and Sean Wood, who I just mentioned above, talking about OpenAI and generative AI and the impacts it's going to have on business and the world at large. So that is going to be on Tuesday, May 9th. Hit me up on LinkedIn, Twitter, email if you want to attend. And we'll be, of course, sharing some of the key takeaways from that roundtable on this show and over at lewismanning.com. Okay, so moving from sort of the news, let's talk about where you can find me in real life. And I've got a couple ACG events coming up. I'm going to be at the ACG Chicago May Social, and that is May 18th from 4:30 to 7 at Little Toasted here in Chicago. Then we've got the Changing Landscape of M&A, which is going to be on June 13th from 5 to 7, and that's got Steve Gaither, the EVP of Growth Strategy from IO8. We've got Randy Brigham, an M&A lawyer and business legal counsel at Perkins Cole. We've got Helena Robbins Huddlestein from Cohen Resnick, where I work, and she is the manufacturing and distribution industry co-leader. And we've got Ben Settles from Consumer and Retail Investment Bank, William Blair. Once again, that is on June 13th from 5 to 7 in Chicago at the Perkins Cole office. The last sort of Chicago event we've got is the Aftershock, the future of mid-market banks after the SVB Bank collapse, and that is on June 14th. And we've got Craig McCrone, partner at Burke Warren, kind of leading the charge from a speaker standpoint, followed with Tom Leiss, partner at Livingston, Robert Chang, treasurer and underwriter at Mason Sager, Paul O'Connor, a principal at Ancor Strategy Advisors, and last but not least, Mason Sager at UBS Financial Services. And once again, that event is at June 14th. I probably need to practice some of these last names that are a little harder for me, but we move on here. And then moving over to Boston, we've got ACG Boston Deal Fest, and that's going to be June 22nd. In the Boston Convention Center. We're likely going to be hosting an event through my firm, Cohen Resnick, and if we do, I will be sure to mention that on this show and share that on social. If you are in Boston or attending the event, please reach out. That sort of wraps it up for the show. Trying to, like I said, be a little tighter in terms of the format, keep it a little shorter, keep it easier. Head over to LinkedIn. You can sign up for the Digital Deep Dive Show newsletter. We've got about 1,000 people already signed up. So, kind of adding people every episode. On the post, I included kind of the notes from the show, as well as where you can find me on social, where you can connect with the show, how you can subscribe to the show, depending on your favorite platform. And as always, enjoy these warmer days. And if you see me at one of these events, let's make sure we undoubtedly have a delicious Negroni together. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you on the next episode.